everyone, and welcome to today's episode. We're going to be talking about Mistletoe and Malice by LORI DeJonge. So, this one is a romantic suspense novel and it fits within the Christian fiction category. And it's also book one in Laurie's Guardian Heart series. And so, why did I want to read this one? Well, a trusted friend who knows me very well recommended this one to me, and she rarely ever gets her recommendations wrong. So, that put this one close to the top of my list in the first place. And I was looking for a Christmas story that was romantic suspense, and this one ticked all the boxes that I was looking for, and I'm very glad I read it. So, let's talk about the book. Mistletoe and Malice by LORI DeJonge is set in Houston, Texas. So this one I would describe as either 50-50 or 60-40 in terms of how the romance and suspense is split. The suspense is quite subtle in terms of what's going on in the story. So it's not high octane on the run suspense like you'll get in some romantic suspense books, but the danger is very real and it's very there the whole way through the story, which I really liked. So we have quite a few suspense and romance tropes. Our main leading lady, she is an heiress from old money in Houston, and her parents have this sprawling estate with a high level of security, which becomes very important for the story. And we have a bodyguard hero, and I really do like bodyguard hero stories, so that was definitely a draw for this one. And we have second chances themes, in particular for our hero, and our main characters are from different worlds. He's an ordinary guy who works for a living, and she is able to work, but work as a volunteer as opposed to having to do paid work to pay her bills. We have a friends to more short time frame romance, which was really lovely the way that played out. I love the romance. We have a side character who might be wrongly convicted of murder, which plays a big role in the story. And we have an attempted abduction of our heroine near the beginning of the story that kicks off a whole lot of stuff. And we have a stalker with a twist, who is a very complex villain, and I'll get into that in a moment. So, the first line in the story is this one: I met someone, Rye. So the person talking in the prologue is one of Riley's friends, and I can't say any more because it will give away spoilers, other than to say that this person and what she has said is very important for the story. So this introduces Riley, and she's 29 when the story kicks off. She actually has her 30th birthday during the story. And as I said, she's an heiress and she's a volunteer who effectively works full time when you add up all her volunteer hours. So she's got a university degree, she's trained to be an attorney, and so she works for free and does pro bono cases. And her big area of interest is helping convicted felons who've been wrongly convicted to get the sentences overturned and to get them out of jail. So that's that's her big driver. She really does want to seek justice for people who've been wrongly convicted of crimes. And she also does a lot of charity work, which is a lot of fun, and we see that in the story. So at the start of the story, Riley is the victim of an attempted abduction at a shopping centre. And that kicks off a whole chain of events in the story. Her dad hires security. She ends up needing to live back at home with her parents. And that introduces us to our hero because she needs a 24/7 bodyguard living on site. And that person is Colton. So he's in his mid 30s. He's the team leader of the security group that is hired to keep her safe. And he'll be living at the estate and in close proximity to Riley to make sure that she's safe. And so their meet cute, there were fireworks at this meet cute because Riley's quite sassy and she was not happy that her father insisted she needed security. At this point in time, it may have been a random situation. She may not have been specifically targeted with what happened at the shopping centre. So she's of the mind that it's overkill and she doesn't need all these people under her feet and she doesn't need babysitters. So Colton, being the boss and leader of the team, has to manage Riley. And it was quite an interesting and fun meet cute in terms of the dynamics between these two. And you could see the sparks were there from the get-go. So we have a lot of problems in this story, as you can imagine. So we've got unknown danger, and Riley has no idea what happened at the shopping centre, why someone tried to abduct her and hurt her, and there's a whole chain of events that lead off that. And she doesn't know if someone will try and kidnap her again or if she was just the wrong person in the wrong place at the wrong time. And there are a number of mysteries to solve in the story, which I really enjoyed. The mysteries kept me guessing, and I didn't pick the answers. And I thought they were very cleverly put together, and they kept me turning the page and turning the page. Because at the end of the day, why Riley is targeted is a very big question. And it took a lot of unpacking to actually work out what was going on. And the romance, there's obviously issues when you've got a bodyguard romance because if he gets distracted when he's protecting her, she could end up in a whole lot of trouble. So that plays out in the story as well. And there's so many risks that are involved, and we've got a heightened sense of intimacy that happens because they're stuck together. So, as well as that intimacy from having to be in close proximity, there's all sorts of other issues that happen as well. And no one knows why she's in danger, and no one knows where she can go, where she's safe. And it's all very complicated because the stakes are really, really high. And as the story goes on, the stakes get higher and higher, which was really fun to read. And so Colton has a whole lot of emotional baggage from the past that he's also dealing with in the story. And Riley, as you can imagine, is suffering from extreme emotional distress. There's something bad has happened to someone close to her not long before this. So it sort of adds to the trauma that she's already been going through dealing with that situation. And her life's in upheaval and she's got no idea what's going on. And basically, from the moment that this attempted abduction happens, her life is turned upside down and is not the same as it was before. And she's a lot more limited in terms of what she can do and what she can't do. And everything is very complicated. So I absolutely love the story, the romance with the bodyguard, and it was just really fun. It was a really sweet friends to more that played out with a really nice timeline, even though it was a very short time frame. So they definitely went through the friends process before we moved into anything else. And I loved Riley. She just had a heart of gold. She volunteered because she had a genuine desire to help other people. So she used her time by volunteering and was also very generous with her finances as well in terms of helping charities and different causes. And Colton, he was really struggling with some hard stuff that had happened in the past. And I really empathized with him in the story and wanted to see him overcome the past hurts that were causing him trouble in the present day and deal with his emotional baggage. And I love the intriguing mysteries. They were so fun. And as I said, I kept turning the page because I couldn't quite work out what was going on. It took time for all those puzzle pieces to fit together, which was really good. And I really enjoyed that. And the suspense with the unknown danger, where we've got constant danger and you never quite know when something will go wrong, I really enjoyed that. And the side characters were very well developed, they were very interesting, and they were also very important to the story. So you're reading thinking, do I need to remember this person or that person? Are they going to matter for the story? So I enjoyed that detective part as a reader as well. And I would describe this story as having strong faith elements. So Colton is very angry with God when the story opens, and he's struggling with some very deep-seated past hurts that he needs to overcome in the story in terms of his relationship with God. And it's quite complicated and it was handled very sensitively. And I really appreciated seeing Colton's faith journey in the story. And with Riley, we really see her faith in action. She practices what she preaches. She loves her neighbor. She will go out of her way to help strangers, people that she doesn't know, even if there's discomfort in what she's doing, even if it takes her out of her comfort zone or it causes her discomfort, she would help anybody in need. And I just love that part of her character as well. And her relationship with God was very real on the page, and I really appreciated seeing her praying and living her faith. And the story had forgiveness themes that were beautifully woven into the story. I can't go any further because I'm not giving away spoilers. And we also have justice themes as well. And I appreciated how the story ending was full of justice, which worked really, really well. It was very satisfying. So, my favorite book quote in the story is this one. The idea of someone rotting away for someone else's crime is almost more than I can bear. So, this is Riley talking, and she's highly motivated by justice and she gets very upset and is very grieved when people are put in jail for a crime they didn't commit. And that can put herself into some danger and upset a few people as well. And I really appreciated seeing that side of her character in the story and her genuine care for other people and her willing to sacrifice her own welfare and her own safety for other people as well. And she really had so much integrity. She was just a really lovely character who the kind of character you meet who you'd want to be friends with because there's just so much to love about Riley. It was very cool. So, in terms of the impact on me, this story was a page turner. I read it within 24 hours. I couldn't put it down because I was just so worried about the characters and what was happening in the story. I was totally hooked from the very beginning into this story and intrigued and wanting to know what happens. And there were lots of smiles as well because the romance, despite the difficult circumstances, there were some really fun romantic moments between Colton and Riley, and I really appreciated seeing those on the page as well. So, in summary, I would recommend this book to readers who like bodyguard romances, who like romances where there's forced proximity with characters from different worlds. If you like romantic suspense with unknown danger and a complex villain with a stalker with a twist, I'd probably say, because it's a stalker, but it's not what you traditionally think of as a stalker in terms of motive. So if you like that kind of complex mystery surrounding the suspense, then you'll love this one. And if you like a romantic suspense that has strong faith elements on the page that are really organic, they're not preachy, they are inspired by what's going on with the characters in the story. And if you like the faith elements to include forgiveness themes and justice themes, then you'll love this one as well. Thanks for joining me today. Does Mistletoe and Malice sound like a book that you'd like to read? Have you read it? What did you think? You can let me know. If you're listening on the podcast, you can send me a text via a link in the show notes. If you're watching at YouTube, you can like the episode at YouTube and you can also leave a comment. And you can also email me via my website where I have a contact form, and that's at narelleatkins.com. And if you've enjoyed this episode, please subscribe at your favourite podcasting app or subscribe at YouTube, and then you'll get a notification for when my next episode drops. And also, if you enjoyed this episode, please share the link with a friend, especially a friend who likes reading romantic suspense and a friend who you think would like reading Lori's books. Thanks for tuning in and see you next time.